That's good to know. Hey. Yo, we got a message. Why does it still say one viewer? This music's so ethereal. Hey, Sharia. My roommate's on here.
No way.
So funny. Not the goat talk emoji. Oh, this thing's just gonna keep counting down. Okay. I'll wait like one more minute and then we'll start. We got the lo-fi. What happened? Lo-fi girl. This mic is so sensitive.
Yeah, I think it's meant for like dynamic vocal recording.
Okay.
Not.
Not this. Not this.
Not podcast here.
That makes sense.
I think that could be like a shotgun mic.
Yeah. I need one of those like Blue Yeti, like the really shitty.
Those ones are pretty shit though.
Yeah.
Get a
I have that.
shotgun.
That's my mic.
Oh.
Because I don't have like a audio interface. I have to use like a shitty USB mic. But yeah.
I used to have the same one though. The same Yeti.
The same Blue Yeti. Okay, I think I'm gonna start.
Alright. Let's get going.
Okay. Can everybody hear me? First of all. I'm just gonna assume that's yes. Let me go to just chatting. Why not?
I
Wow.
can hear you.
Okay, great, perfect. So welcome to the first QWave tutorial. This is week 1, and it's gonna be basically getting to know Ableton, the very basics, like the very building blocks of Ableton, I guess. So I'm Aidan. I'm the tutorial director at QWave, and yeah, we're gonna be going through Ableton, I guess, today. So what is QWave? QWave is a club for basically anyone who is interested in music or music production. I love Ableton too, yes. Yeah, so anybody who's interested in music production, we're trying to make it as like accessible, I guess, to students as possible. So if you're a QWave member, you get Ableton for free if you sign up on the website which is theqwave.ca. Yeah.
Sponsored.
We're sponsored by Ableton.
Yeah.
That's true. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it. I guess we can jump right into it. Hope everyone's doing good. Let me switch to the Ableton screen. Can everybody see this now? I'm just gonna keep asking because I don't know what's going on really. I haven't really streamed before. Also, if you guys have any questions, just message in the chat because
Can you just call them chat?
hey chat. Hey chat, yo. I'm like XQC right now. Okay. How do I do this? Okay. So everybody can see this, I'm assuming. I actually can't see chat is the issue. So I'm gonna just keep switching back and forth and like hoping that everything okay, everyone can see it. Great. So this is Ableton. This is your DAW, hopefully. Hopefully everyone can like open this and follow along with me. We're not really gonna be doing much today. I'm just gonna like go through the basics, I guess, of the software. Dude, yeah. Okay, so yeah, basically like everything that you need is here. So the first thing with Ableton is that there's like two views. There's arrangement view and session view. So you can toggle between the two on the upper right. Upper right, yes, that's correct. I had to do the little L thing with my hand. So yeah, this is basically the session view here, and then this is the arrangement view. Like the three lines in the top right kind of dictate between them. I think this is the thing that sets Ableton apart, is the fact that it has this session view, which is mainly supposed to be for like live performance, or also like to like sketch out ideas, I guess, for your music. I personally don't use session view at all. I kind of hate it, low-key, but some people find it useful, so this exists, I guess. Yeah, but most DAWs look like this, which is the arrangement view. It's the horizontal 3 bars. Let me just check chat again. Chat. Okay. Okay, great. So, yeah, this is what most DAWs look like. At the top, we have the basics. We have the play button, the pause button, the record button is the circle, you know. We got like looping features and all that stuff, all that jazz at the top, and also BPM. So BPM is like how fast or slow your song is. It's beats per minute. So 60 beats per minute is just like a clock, literally, because like there's 60 seconds in a minute, you know. Time signature, metronome, everything's up here. So this is all of the stuff to control like the basics of your project. On the left side, we have all of your samples and effects. This is like what you use to like make everything, I guess. All of the instruments that come with Ableton, any plugins that you might have downloaded are here. All of the effects, so all of the delay, reverb, all of that stuff. And then all of your samples. So you can also upload your own samples by clicking add folder right here. So I've uploaded my samples. I would go through them, but there's a lot of just nonsense there. So I don't know if that'd be interesting. But these are all of the samples that Ableton provides. This is bongos. Can everyone hear the bongos? Did everyone hear the bongos? I wish I knew how to make Ableton to only play through earphones. I wouldn't want to interrupt my family again. Okay. That's so true. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, yeah, so you hear the bongos, great. So yeah, these are all of the samples. They're all here. All stacked up here. And then these are all my samples. I don't know if you want to go through this. There's an alarm. It's a little drum break. What is this? Oh, nice guitar. Beautiful guitar. So yeah, these are all my samples. I have a drum kit called Twerk Nation, but let's not talk about that. So yeah, that's your left-hand side here. Has everything you need. The bottom part of Ableton is your audio effects and your manipulation for like audio clips and stuff like that. So you can put all of your effects on here, basically. We'll show you a demo of that later. And then the main like meat and potatoes of Ableton is this track view that I'm highlighting here. Basically, this is where all of your tracks live, all of your tracks of different audio layers to all of your songs, all your different instruments, your drums, your whatever, they're all here. And then you can like stack them up on top of each other and make music. Isn't that so swell? Okay. Let me check the thing again. Yeah. So, yeah, that's basically the basics of the software. So, we can go through some other things. So, we can talk about audio and MIDI. So, those are basically the two core types of audio files, I guess, that you can use in Ableton. There's audio and MIDI. So what does that mean? Audio is basically like any of your samples, any vocal recordings you have. It's like a direct wave. It's data of like the direct waveform that you record. So for example, if I bring in a sample, let's choose QWave Loop 1 Lo-Fi Jazz. Oh, actually, that's not playing anything. Oh, it's just really quiet. Let me bring a loud sample. Let's bring in this. let's bring in this thing. So this is your audio. Audio basically shows as a waveform in Ableton, so you can see all of the places where the waveform is like higher is where it's louder. This is just like this is literally like an MP3 file or whatever. So yeah, and then also like this file is in stereo because there's two sides, so there's a left side and a right side. So the right side is actually louder than the left. I don't think you can hear that now because like my audio is in mono for technical reasons, but like yeah. So that's audio, and then MIDI is like data that is like of triggers of audio, I guess is a good way to say it. So let's take a MIDI clip. Let's go to Ableton. They have a Jersey beat. Let's see what this sounds like. Oh, it's really slow. Okay. Wow, this is a really great beat. By the way, I just looped the audio. You could do that by clicking this button up here. So you select the audio you want, or you drag this loop marker thing at the top onto the audio that you want. You can change the size, then like loop it, or you can click Control L. That's the other way to loop it. Hopefully everyone's following along. Let me check the chat. Okay, good. So this is MIDI data. This is really shit. Let's speed this up. What is this? Oh. Okay, anyway, this is MIDI data, so it looks different in Ableton. It's basically just showing all of the places where audio gets triggered. So there is like, if you listen to it, you can see all of the times that the kick and the drum loop gets hit. Or maybe what would be better is the hi-hat. If you listen to like the tss, like you can see all of the times, all of these little lines is basically where the signal gets triggered, and then it gets like cut off at a certain point. All of these samples are being held in this like drum kit at the bottom here that you can see at the bottom right. So for example, that hi-hat is hi-hat closed. So this is the sound of it. This is what the actual audio file looks like. I'm zooming in and out of it. And then you can trigger it with MIDI, and basically, yeah, it's basically just data of like triggering it. So the reason why you would use audio versus MIDI is because like you can manipulate them differently. So like MIDI, it's like easier to, like most people use MIDI, I think, for drums or for instruments. It's easier to just like, or sorry, also for like keyboards and stuff like that. It's easier to, like, if you make a mistake in your performance, you can like literally just move around these notes. So for example, if you go to the bottom right and you click right next to the I'm explaining this really poorly. It's at the bottom right here, the thing that I just clicked that I'm hovering over right now. You can see all of these drums. I can actually just delete like for the snare completely, and then now there's gonna be no snare. Wow, magic. It's like easier to manipulate, I guess. And then like I can also change the hi-hat pattern, so I can move around these notes like this. Whoa. And then now the hi-hat's on a completely different note. So that's kind of the benefit of MIDI. I think there's an entire tutorial on MIDI that I'm going to do at some point, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But yeah, let's see if there's any questions in the chat. There's a lot of emotes. Okay. A lot of Fortnite emotes. Yeah. You can also convert audio to MIDI by... maybe I'll talk about that at a different time. This is like the basics I keep forgetting. Yeah, so I guess that's everything on that. We can talk about recording now. So recording is done through the record button at the top, which is the circle button. To decide what you want to record, you need to use the track. You need to like choose the track you're recording in. So that's what this red button on each of these tracks are. So right now the record button is hovering over the MIDI for that, where that drum kit was. So the second layer is being recorded. So if I click record, nothing's gonna happen I forgot there's a metronome on there. Nothing's gonna happen because I'm not triggering the notes in any way. If you want to record audio, you have to do that in an audio track. So like the third track, for example, is an audio track. So if I click record, I keep forgetting there's a metronome. But you can see it's recording what I'm saying right now. Isn't that wild? It's literally recording what I'm saying right now. So then you can listen to it back. So if I pause it or click the stop button, the square, and you listen to it back, isn't that wild? It's literally recording what I'm saying right now. That's me. That's me, guys. Isn't that so crazy? Yeah. Basically, I was able to select. Yeah, sorry guys. I was able to select the layer I was recording in and then record in it. So it was recording my microphone here. If I go back to the MIDI layer and I click record here, let me delete that. Oh my god, that fucking metronome. Okay. To trigger the MIDI, I can use my keyboard, or I can use like a MIDI controller. If you guys have a MIDI keyboard or something like that you can add in externally. So I can trigger with my keyboard, I think. Can I hear it? Why can't I hear any of this? Oh, look at this. I'm clicking A on my keyboard and I'm making the kick get hit. So I can make like a... Ooh, that was a bass. Okay, here's the snares, S, so I can click A, S, A, S. Wow. This is really good. But yeah, I'm basically triggering the MIDI through my keyboard. But the only reason it's working is because I'm like selecting the second layer as my MIDI, as my like record, like when I'm recording. So then I can hear it back. That was really good, right guys? Wow. Okay. Okay. So that's MIDI. I'm gonna turn off the metronome right now. You can turn that off on the upper left. I'm just gonna say no metronome. Or no count in, I mean, sorry. Yeah. So basically yeah. I don't know what I'm saying. But yeah, that's audio and MIDI. Two different inputs, I guess. Do I have a favorite sample? Amen Break, 100%. Let me pull that up. Do I have it? I do have it. Yeah, this is a classic. This is in like every song. Okay, so that's my favorite sample. Speaking of which, I'm going to talk to you about pitch modes, warping, and simpler. So we just saw how to kind of manipulate MIDI. I think I'll talk more about that in depth in another lesson, but I'm going to go more in depth into audio, manipulating audio. Banger, thank you. So basically when you drag in audio, so I just dragged in this Amen Break sample, for example, it automatically gets warped to the tempo that the track is at. So I'm at 144 BPM. Ableton is going to basically try to make this sample 144 BPM. Obviously it's kind of failing. Like if I put on the metronome, like it's totally off, but it tries its best. What it's doing with the sample is it's basically stretching certain parts of the sample and then like condensing other parts so that it's more like on beat, or it tries to be as on beat as possible. And you're actually able to go through and do that manually yourself. So that's through warp modes, which you can see here at the bottom left. So there's a button that says warp. If you click warp, unclick warp, if it's grayed out, this is just the original sample with no warp of tempo. There we go. You guys all hear that. And then if you click warp, now I can treat this sample in a different way, and I'm able to use this bottom section as a way of like warping where the audio starts. So you can see these little gray arrows. Can everyone see the gray arrows? These are what are called your transients. These are the parts of your audio that's like peaking. It's basically like where all of your audio is hitting. So these are like basically every single drum is where you see one of these gray arrows. And what you're able to do is if you double click on one of these gray arrows, you're able to make what's called a warp marker, I think it's called that. Is that right? And basically you can drag this warp marker around and change where the audio goes. So I'm going to drag this right to the beginning at 1. And then I'm going to drag the next one, that's the second drum. I'm going to drag that to this marker here. And then I'm going to drag this one to this marker and so on. And what you'll hear is that I'm basically warping how the audio is going to sound and the timing of the audio. This is probably going to sound like terrible, but so, do you guys hear that? It's like warped. It's like warped, yeah. It's basically like the timing has changed completely. Now, it's going to sound a little weird because the computer is basically trying to stretch this audio to like different lengths. So it's going to try to fill in that gap in very weird ways. So you're going to get all these weird stutters and stuff like that. And you can actually change the character of those stutters and the way that the program tries to fill in that audio when you stretch it and warp it through the bottom left quadrant here. So underneath the warp, there's something called beats. If you click on that, there's a drop down and you can see all of these different methods of how Ableton's going to fill in that space. So if you click tones, for example, it's going to fill it in. Actually, I don't know what tones does exactly, but it makes it like really grainy sounding. And you can change the size of the grain with this knob here. So if I put it to 100, it's going to sound more smooth. And if I put it to 12, it's going to sound more grainy. You guys hear that? Versus 100. Hopefully that makes sense. Is everything making sense so far? Play unreleased Saintsbury. I might do that at the end. I think I'm going to have a lot of extra time. Do I have a favorite warp speed? Yes, I do, actually. That's the nerdiest shit, but I like the complex one because it just does all the work for me and makes it sound like the way I think it should sound. And I also like Complex Pro because you can change. So yeah, Complex, I don't know what it does. I don't know what the difference is. It has no options. It just kind of fills in the sound like in the best way, in my opinion. But obviously, like, depending on what you want to do with the sample, you can manipulate it in different ways. So Complex Pro, you can change what's called the formant. So the formant basically is like the character of the audio. So you can imagine like when you are speaking, when you say like ooh or ah or whatever, you're changing like the formant of your voice. Like you can say the word like ooh and ah at the same pitch, but it's going to sound differently because the formant, the character of your voice is changing. That's what the formant shifter kind of does. So if I slowly go through it, you're going to hear it's changed a little bit. It's kind of hard to tell on a drum sample. Maybe I'll bring in just a random sample. Let's bring in like Tyler the Creator. This is just the instrumental to Igor's theme. I don't know why I downloaded this one, but let's just grab a random part of that. And I'm gonna just go to so you can zoom in through this little section here at the bottom right. You can like grab this marker and then like like move your mouse and it will like zoom in more. So I'm gonna just like arbitrarily grab a couple of these markers and like drag them to like weird locations. Sorry, this is gonna take a second. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah. So this sounds really terrible, but like it's getting my point across. So if I change the formats, in here everything kind of is more like bassy and full, and then when I go to 100, everything's kind of more like high end, I guess. Like, I don't know how it changes the sound differently. And then envelope also changes something. What it changes is very mysterious. But I use basically Complex and Complex Pro for everything. Repitch basically just like changes the entire pitch of a sample based on how you stretch it, so it's gonna sound terrible, but yeah. Okay, sounds great. And then there's texture. So you can change size of grain and flux. Again, I don't know what flux does, but it makes it sound cool sometimes. Yeah. That's basically, those are my favorite warp modes. Do you have a favorite? Oh, damn, I didn't even know there were warp settings. Yes. Those are very important. I use them a lot, and like you can really make like really strange sounding stuff with that. Especially on vocals. If you put Complex Pro on vocals and then you pitch them up or down, you can really like mess with things. Let me get a vocal sample maybe. Vocal. Oh, do we have no vocal samples at all? Absolutely zero. I have a Playboy Cardi sample. Ooh. Why did I download this? Vamp Anthem. Any Playboy Cardi fans in chat? Oh my god. Okay.
When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be ready. When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
Okay.
When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
So
when I'm best,
we can also play around with pitch. This is the other really important one. So pitch is this little slider here. You can, sorry, let me put it in. So basically, when you put in pitch or whatever without any warp modes, it's just gonna speed up or slow down the pitch of the sample.
when I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
So it's just gonna be faster.
When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
This is like 100 gex Cardi, and then if you slow down,
When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be.
this is like I don't know. No one like really slows down their vocals like that, so I don't really know who that's like. But
When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be
you
ready.
can basically change the pitch like that.
It's like
Where it
slowed
gets,
and chopped.
yeah, chopped and screwed shit. Yeah. But then when you warp it, when you change the pitch, it's gonna stay the same speed, but the pitch is gonna change.
When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
So you're gonna be like, okay, now that sounds like shit. Why did I do that? Well, it's because we're in beats mode. Beats mode is also really important too. I'll explain that one later, I guess. But if you put it to complex, it's gonna try to fill it in like the best way possible. So
When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
so it's like almost there. It sounds a little weird, like obviously, because you're pitching up this vocal, but you're not like changing the speed of it. So it's gonna sound a little off, but it kind of does its thing. And then Complex Pro,
When I'm best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
is because it's using formants, it's gonna keep the same character of the vocal but pitch it up, so it's gonna sound kind of unnatural. So you can really play around with all of these settings and make weird stuff happen. The beats mode is also really useful, so I'm gonna not use a vocal for that. I'm gonna use a drum sample. Let's see my drum breaks. I think I have a lot of random drum breaks. This is from a Carly Rae Jepsen Carly Rae Jepsen Tiny Desk. But let me grab the sample. So obviously it's not on beat right now, but I'm gonna put on the metronome. You can do that in the top left. I'm doing like ASMR now. So I'm gonna warp it, and then I can change all these markers to be on beat. Another thing you can do is so this is one way to do it. So you can see like here the first four. The faster way to do it, the way that I like to do it, is you go here, you find one, oh sorry, I'm gonna start with the metronome. You find one loop of the drums. So right here, so again, you can change the length of a clip by sliding the little marker at the end. So that's like one loop of the drum thing. So if I duplicated it, it would be like a full drum loop. And then you can basically, if you put it in warp mode now, you can hold shift and then drag from the end, and the whole clip is going to change speed. So you hold shift and drag, and so now it's on beat already. So you can also see in the bottom, Let me make sure everyone's following along so far. Hi Noah. Hi. Opium. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah. Now it's on beat. You can see there's a couple drums that are off beat. Sometimes you want that. You want a little bit of swing in your drums. But if you want like everything to be like perfectly on beat, what you can do is you can click down at the bottom here. You can click Control A. And then you can Control Shift U. And then you can basically choose quantization. So quantization is basically how on beat something is. So you can choose to quantize to a certain speed. So you can choose to quantize to every quarter notes. So a quarter note is like a quarter of a bar. And a bar is like, no, wait, a quarter note is a quarter of a beat. And there's 4 beats in every bar. Yeah, something like that. I'm not a music guy, music theorer. But yeah, let's say I want to quantize to every quarter note. I can click apply. And then look, all of the markers automatically snap to the perfect speed. So now it's going to be perfectly on beat. And now we can talk about beats. So the beats thing is also really versatile. I mainly only use it for drums. But you can basically change the like how fast or slow a drum hits. Let me see what time it is. It's already 6:30. Oh my god. Okay. So you can basically change how fast or slow a drum hits. So you can choose to either have everything happen on transients, which is basically when the audio is peaking. So at the start of every drum, basically. Every 32nd note, every 16th note, every bar, if you want. I hope I'm explaining this correctly. And then like this mode here changes how the audio is going to be stretched. So it's either going to, if you choose like the forward arrow, backward arrow, it's basically filling in the space by like reversing certain sections of the drums to like fill in that space. If you choose the double arrow, it's going to just keep replaying the drums to fill in that space. And then if you choose the single arrow, it's just going to play the drum and then stop when it runs out of the sample. It's not going to stretch the sample, basically. So I can show you what each of these modes sound like. So we're on the original mode right now. If I put it on the 2 arrows, I think it would be easier to hear if it's slower. So do you hear it's like, like, wow, that was really bad. Oh my god. Basically the drums keep looping, keep repeating. That's what's happening. And then if I hit the 1 arrow, it's just gonna play and stop. Do you hear all the spaces in between? It's going like duh, 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 duh. And then you can even make it faster by changing this thing. This thing says 100 right now. If I drag it down, let's make it 50. It's gonna be even faster. Every transient, every drum is going to be even like shorter. And I can make it even smaller. I can drag it all the way down to 0, and you're only going to hear basically the transient. Do you guys hear that? I'm going to turn it up. Can everyone hear that? Does that make sense? Is everyone following along so far? Is that good? I don't know if I'm doing a good job, guys. There's like no one in the chat. Oh my gosh, what happened? Did I lose everybody? Thank you. Thank you. Keep it up, King. Thank you, Noah. Wow. Yeah. So those are the. I'm doing great. Thank you. Oh my gosh, you guys are so kind. So kind. Okay. That is audio manipulation. Okay. What else do we have? External devices. External devices, I guess it's only useful if you guys already have equipment, which I don't know if you guys do. But basically, external devices is how you route or connect your devices to Ableton. I can show that, but I have to use a different type of capture. So I'm going to use display capture quickly and then quickly go back. So you can open your preferences to modify your external devices by clicking Control, comma. So this is basically all of your preferences. You can also do that by going to the top of Ableton and then opening like preferences, I think, under file, like file and then preferences. But I just do control comma because it's like faster. So these are all of your input devices, your output devices, all that stuff. So I can change, I'm not going to do it right now because it's going to break my entire setup, but I can change my input device to something else. Let's say I have a microphone on my computer, and I also have a microphone that's external that I want to record through, like a really fancy, nice microphone. I can basically just say, okay, I'm going to record through my computer for now, or I'm going to record through my microphone, or I'm going to record through an audio interface I have, whatever. That's what this is basically doing. And you can also change where your audio is outputted. So right now I'm recording through an audio interface, which is the Scarlett 212 4th gen. Yeah, that's why it's my input device. It's also my output device because I'm listening to myself speak through the input audio device. Yeah. That's basically all you have to know on this page. There's other stuff like sample rates and all this stuff. Latency is very important. Driver error compensation. But this is all really nerdy stuff that you don't have to worry about right now because we're just talking about the basics. So that's how you change your input and output device. It's just control comma and then you go to audio. Yeah. If you have external MIDI controllers like we do in the studio, I'm currently in the studio, you would use this channel, which is called Link Tempo MIDI, and you can add different surfaces. So right now I have, I don't know, Launchpad. Launchpad is like a drum sequencer, I think, or a drum pad thing. So we have one of those in the studio, so it's connected. Or actually, it's not connected right now, but when it connects, we can use it as an input. So basically, that's what Launchpad does. This is basically where you add all of your MIDI devices. So MIDI is like any keyboards that have MIDI capability, pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. That's how you do it. What else do I have to go through? It says how to save your files. So me personally, what's my Ableton setting? My favorite Ableton setting tab. My favorite Ableton setting tab. It's gotta be audio. This is the one I use the most. I have a really shitty mic. I use like a Blue Yeti, and then it like constantly breaks, so I have to always go into this tab and then change my buffer size and my sample rate like a cajillion times until it works again. I have a really good setup at home, so that's my favorite Ableton preference tab. That's a crazy question. Okay, I'm gonna go back to window capture so you guys don't see. Good pick. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my god, guys, this is okay. This is going well, right? Oh my god, you're still behind me. Fuck.
Wait, what?
I forgot you're still behind me.
I'm chilling. I'm
Oh.
watching it.
We have Joseph. Is it Joseph?
Yeah. What's
Joseph
going on, guys?
Guido, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be teaching mixing next Sunday.
Yeah, shout out. Can you guys hear him? I think you can, right?
Wait, let me see.
He's also listening to the stream.
Yeah, it's very quiet. Yeah, I'm just watching. I'm just seeing what.
Okay, yeah. He's going to be teaching mixing and stuff next week. DJ Guido, right?
Sorry?
DJ Guido? I feel like I know you from something, but I don't know from what.
I was at the mastermind. The one mind.
Oh, okay.
Mastermind, so probably that.
Okay, that's probably
My
that.
producer name's Trillamade.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, that's
Yeah. I've seen. Okay, great. That is so great. Okay. Yes. Okay. I think that's all I have today. Audio versus MIDI, session versus arrangement view, external devices, recording, external instruments, pitch modes, warping, sampler and simpler. I didn't do that. Let me do that right now. So, if you want to treat audio like MIDI, why would you want to do that? Basically, like, sometimes you have like just a single kick sample, for example. So let me go through my kicks. Let's choose something maybe from Brockhampton kick. This is the kick from Boy Bye, the song. So what I could do, and what I actually normally do low-key, is you could just drag in your kicks, and then like I can like copy them and then paste them on the timeline. So I could say, oh, I'm just gonna like basically have my kicks every beat. That sounds like a nightmare. Right? So this is what you can do if you want to. And I usually do that. Sometimes it's better to do that. I like doing this sometimes when I want like to be like really expressive and like really like care about every single kick, like the placement of every single kick. I'll do this. But the other thing you can do is you can use MIDI as like a way to trigger audio. So to make a new MIDI track, you do Control-Shift-T. To make a new track, you just do Control-T, but that's just audio. So we want to do MIDI. So I do Control-Shift-T, and then you can go to here and go type in Simpler, and go to your, I think it should be under Instruments, Simpler, yeah. So I can go drag this in onto my track, and it's going to open this thing here. This is basically going to allow me to drag in any sample I want and treat it like it's MIDI. So let's actually, you know what? I'm going to drag in that Playboy Cardi sample. Playboy Cardi.
Wake up, filthy.
Oh, that's not the right. Which one was it? Van Van though? Was that the song that we did?
When a bear's
Yeah, that was the one. Okay. I'll drag it in. Now you can see it's here. So I'm actually going to drag this this marker here. That's basically just showing where the start of the sample is. I'm going to drag it right here. So this entire sample is now in a simpler, and I'm able to trigger it with MIDI. So the way you're able to trigger MIDI is if you click this button at the top here, top right, it's the keyboard button that allows you to trigger MIDI. You want to make sure that you're recording. You have the red button in the layer that you want to record in, which is Playboy Cardi Simpler. And then if I click any button on my keyboard, oh, that's really low.
when a bear's outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
So that's the original pitch. But let's say I want to play that's in C, quote unquote. If I want to play that in G, I can click the button for G on my keyboard, and I can play it in a different key. And you can play them at the same time.
When a bear's outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
Oh my god, that sounds so scary.
When a bear's outside, little bitch, you better be ready. When a bear's outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
Yeah. Art. That's art. So Simpler just lets you do that. How much time do I have? Oh my god, I have 10 minutes. No, 15 minutes. I can't. Okay. Oh god, I gotta move fast. Yeah, so that's one way. So that's in classic mode. It basically lets you play all of the audio as like the whole, like basically the whole audio as like MIDI, as like a different note, I guess, is a different pitch. There's a ton of settings here. They're all very similar to how you treat audio normally. Like there's a warp setting, transients. You can change like from beats mode to complex mode, like we've already learned. A lot about like where a sample starts and ends, but we can play around with this another time. The other mode that is very useful, there's one shot mode. I don't really like that one. The other one that's really useful is slice mode. So this lets you do some crazy sampling. So basically, right now, Ableton is automatically splitting everywhere there are these blue markers, splitting the audio and mapping them to different keys on my keyboard. So if I click A, it's actually just Playboy Cardi saying ooze, and then and then if I click W, that's the next part of the sample. So it's basically just chopping all of these small parts and letting me play just those parts of the sample. So obviously right now it's not really great. It's slicing right now by transient, so you can change the mode it slices by, so you can change it by slicing by beat. So now it's going to slice every quarter note or every quarter note.
You come out, tell me, I wonder,
Anyway, it sounds terrible, but you know what I mean. You can slice it like that. Or you can slice it by region, which you can basically just divide the sample into an even number of regions. So I'm right now dividing it in 64 regions.
When a bear's outside, little bitch, you better be ready. Little bitch, you better be ready. My time, be ready. I want to.
Oh, I'm getting a call. Let me mute my phone quickly. Okay. Yeah, that's basically what Simpler does. There's a ton of like really deep stuff you can do with Simpler. I think the best way to learn it is really just play around with it. Yeah, like I mean, we can go through, if anyone has any specific questions about anything that I talked about today, we can go through anything. Please, guys. Please, I have 10 minutes I have to fill. Playboy Cardi harmonization goes crazy. Thank you, Noah. Thank you. I appreciate you. Any questions at all about anything that I talked about today? If I'm not making sense, also, like, please let me know, because I don't know what I'm doing at all. Yeah. Okay, no questions. What should I do in the last time? How do I oh, thank you. How do I save a track? Oh, I almost forgot. Okay, let's say I'm making a really good beat. So let me just drag in a bunch of random stuff. Oh, maybe not. Let me just drag in a bunch of stuff. I'll drag in Playboy Cardi. I'll drag in like a really good drum beat. Let's bring back that Jersey Club beat from earlier, the really shitty Ableton one.
When the best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
Wow, I'm making art.
When the guys outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
And then let me add,
when the best outside, little bitch, you better.
Let me add just a really, really loud clap in the middle. Wow, perfect. I'll add that one right in. This beat's gonna be really good. So let's say I have this.
When the best outside, little bitch, you better be ready. When the guys outside, little bitch, you better be ready. When the best outside, little bitch, you better be ready.
Let's say I want to save my work, right? You're gonna click Control S, right? Oh, you guys can't see any of this. Ooh, you guys can't see any of this. Basically, you just click Control S. You're gonna that's gonna save your live set. So that's gonna be saving the file that you're making the music in. That's gonna save your Ableton file. So you can name it whatever you want and put it wherever you want. But you just do Control S. If you want to export your audio, so the difference is like saving your file is saving your Ableton file. Exporting your audio is just exporting all of the audio into like a final song. You can do, I think it's Control Shift R. Yeah, Control Shift R. Actually, I'm gonna go back just for you guys. Let me switch the mode I'm in. So hopefully you guys can see this export audio video part. Basically you can like select the part of the song that you want to export. So I want to export from bar 10 to bar 12. You do Control Shift R. It's gonna automatically select those select that as my like start and end. So it says my start is bar 10 and the length of the song is 2 bars. And then you can export it as a, basically like, you don't really need to touch any of these settings. You can render as a loop if you want, but like, why would you do that? You can make it mono, but like, why would you do that? You can normalize your audio, which some people might want to do. Normalizing is just like it basically makes like the lowest peak or the highest peak in your track at the loudest level as possible. But like, also like, you don't really need to do that. And then, yeah, you can encode it as an MP3 if you want to download an MP3, or you can just download it as a WAV file, which is uncompressed. I would suggest doing a WAV if you have the space on your computer. If you don't have space, then you can do an MP3. But WAVs are basically just like higher quality audio. And then you just click export. That's pretty much it. That's how you export a song. Yeah. I think that's it. Let me go back to the chat. Do I have a favorite MIDI instrument on Ableton? No. Ableton instruments are so bad. I guess like there's one called like Wonk Bass. Do they still have it? They might not have it on this computer because I have like the really old version of Ableton. Oh, they do. Wonk Bass. This one I like. It's just like a really simple bass, and you can like get really, really growly with it. I like that one. That's my favorite Ableton instrument. Yeah. Okay, I guess we have like 7 minutes left. The robot emoji. Do you guys want to like, is there any questions anyone has, or should I do something in particular? I don't really know. What did you do when you did yours, when you had extra time?
I just waited for like last questions.
Last questions.
Comments. and then I wrapped it up.
Play my unreleased tracks.
Or I did that.
Oh shit. Should I do that? Oh god. Oh god. Will it even open on this computer? Ooh, I'm in the studio. It's not my normal computer, so let me see. Open live set. Hopefully you guys can't see all of my files. That would not be good. Let me just open something. Let's see if this works. Music, Ableton, project files. Uh-oh. Oh my god, there's so many. Here, I'll just open this one. Don't save. Delete. Okay. Okay, while that's loading, any other questions? No? No questions? It's gonna take a second to load.